Back with David Hammond.
Yep.
And I want to talk about this video that I posted on my YouTube channel yesterday and the day before. It got a fair number of views and a fair number of comments. And it is going to be very important to put this in context, as many of the people commenting said. So let's start. This officer, Officer Pitts, you can see it right there. Let's pause that for a second. He is coming to your house.
Yeah.
Because Agape, the nurses had come. The nurses had stood you up for about a week, right? Or maybe more.
The social worker for the company that they work for stood me up for 2 weeks. And then these nurses called me up a day early because my mom was scheduled to come. They were scheduled to come in Tuesday, but this is on a Monday. The nurses literally call me up and say that should I look at you or the camera?
Either one. It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
So they called me up saying, "Can we come by?" I said, "Of course." So they come by, and I've got the screenshot on my phone. They stayed here for about 20 minutes, and then they called, one of them went outside.
All right, let's start. So that's right. So we're gonna get to that. I remember now. So the woman from Agape, the nurse, finally did show up. And one of the things that they do is they bathe your mom.
It's, to correct your term, it's home health care aide that does that, not the nurse.
All right, so the home health care aide does, and that works for Agape.
Yes.
And they hadn't been around in a little bit too long. And so they now show up a day earlier than they said they were going to come. And you'd already had some conflict because you're really asking them to come out. Like, you need help. It's not appropriate. Yes. The state's paying the bill to them.
Yes.
They need to come and be helpful, please. And,
yeah.
and it's important also to note that your mom is in a position she can't get in a shower.
Correct. Yeah.
So she's got to be sponge bathed.
Correct. In her bed.
In her bed. And so they're now here and they're doing this. Behind the officer here is inside this house right here. And the Agape nurses at this time are taking care of his mother. One of the Agape nurses has called the sheriff's department.
Yes.
And what was the reason over the bruise?
There was a bruise on my mother's wrist that she came home with from the hospital where the IVs were hooked up to her. And that bruise to that home health care aide seemed like it was abuse. But this was, to be honest, this was her first week at working for this type of this company, so I understand why she would think that it was a bruise that could have been from abuse. So
all right, so put that in context. So the home health care aide that's here is very new to the job. She's only been doing the job about a week.
Yes, sir.
And so she's in, and she discovers a bruise on the wrist. Your mom was on blood thinners at the time, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Eliquis, to be precise.
Eliquis. And so anyone who's familiar with this process, when you get on these types of blood thinners, bruising you have to be very, very gentle. I mean, anyone who's familiar with this would know that if you have an older woman who's mostly bedridden and on Eliquis and she's not covered in bruises, it means that someone's being very gentle and caring of this woman. And so she has one bruise on her wrist.
Yes, sir.
And he calls the sheriff. So now the sheriff is here. The deputy of the Oconee County Sheriff's Department is here, Mr. Pitts.
Yep.
So he wants to come in the house.
Yeah, he did.
He does want to come in the house. And I think it's important to note, you've already had significant conflict with the Oconee County Sheriff's Department in the past, correct?
I didn't have conflict. I just record them. I usually pretty demean and really nice to them. I don't confront them.
Yeah, you wouldn't be like me. I would have spurred them on, hoping that they'd make fools of themselves in front. No, just kidding. I'm pretty polite too most of the time, but he doesn't think so.
He's a little intimidating, to be honest with you. For me, he's intimidating.
I'm boisterous.
Yeah. Intimidating.
So you're here. The officer is wanting to come in the house.
Correct. Yep.
And so you're saying no.
My mama was naked behind me. My mama was naked.
All right.
She didn't have any clothes on. She was getting her sponge bath behind me. He wanted to come in and check my mom out while she was naked. So I told him,
that seems weird.
It did to me too. Who wants to see a 70-year-old woman naked?
And you did, actually, that helps me out, because in the video you say you can see her behind you. So he knows she's naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she had two nurses home health care aides around her. She had one over here on the back side of the wall and one behind me at the screen door and in front of my mom. And you can actually hear her in part of the video say she's covered, and that was supposed to be the cop's cue to kick down the door and start shooting and arresting everybody. But by that time, he was too busy getting a search warrant.
Oh, all right. He was too busy getting a search warrant. We'll just let it go to the pictures for a second. Well, so I think that puts a fair amount of context. The officer showing up at the door. Let's go ahead and play it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. What's going on?
So your mom's nursing company want me to come do a welfare check on her.
They're here doing it right now.
Okay, well they call law enforcement to come out here and
Here,
check.
pause this. And here's the part that rubs me so wrong, right? A welfare check for a woman who's obviously she's not 100% mentally there. She's gotten old enough to where things aren't quite right. Correct. She has 2 nurses with her, and the nurses are saying there's a bruise.
Home health care aide.
Home health care aide, sorry. I'll get it right one of these days. And this officer is saying that he's going to contribute what? He's not a medical professional, right? If there's a concern, he's talking about you. He's talking to you. Right. There's nothing gained from this officer coming in the house. Nothing.
I don't see any benefit in him being out here. I don't.
Right.
I think that he was just coming out here. He reminded me of a time that I pulled him over before, and he highlights a bunch of things that he never did, like he insinuated I didn't have car insurance and no registration. And
well, let's keep playing it. Let's keep going.
Can you see her right there?
Yeah, but I'd like to get speak to her, maybe.
No, you come inside my house.
Okay.
That's not happening.
Why you always give law enforcement a hard time?
Because I watch too many YouTube videos.
I'll pause this. That makes me so mad. Why are you giving law enforcement? You're asking the officer to follow the law.
I will.
You're saying, hey, sir, would you please follow the law? And he's saying you're giving him a hard time. That is right there. I'm sorry. I get that he's speaking in a kind voice, but that gentleman is a tyrant. I will call him a tyrant. That is bullying behavior. This is the exact behavior that is so detestable. But please go ahead.
Do you believe everything you see on YouTube?
I believe this camera ain't lying right now.
As far as
I
what?
appreciate you guys doing your work, but not all of you are honest. Y'all just had one busted for child trafficking over here at Fair Oaks Elementary, one of your own color.
Yeah, let's pause that. Yeah, the child trafficking issue. And so I actually didn't even know this. Somehow this got so buried. You'd think anyone following Oconee news would know this, but apparently I didn't. Yes. There's an officer, Twomey, how do you say his name?
Towery, I think it
Towery.
was John Towery.
Yeah, John Towery, who was working at an elementary school involved in a 7-person child sex ring.
Yes.
And he was accused of not just online offenses, but actually in-person physical offenses with a minor.
Correct.
That's my understanding. And this is an officer, and then he got, what was his sentence? 2 years of home arrest.
Yes.
And then probation.
5 years.
And then 5 years of probation. So yes. Pedophilia, apparently if you wear this uniform, you can be a pedophile. And it kind of is like a get out of jail free card. You know, you're going to have to stay home and you're not, for 2 years.
It's kind of like don't even bother going to jail unless you're taking someone else there. Card.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a little disconcerting. And right, and again, maybe this a young enough looking man, maybe he's recoverable. Maybe we can exemplify him. He can watch our videos and learn from them. So I'm not writing this man off as a human being. I hope he heals and gets better. I wish you the best, Mr. Pitts, but I want you to fix these things for me. So let's keep playing this.
Can I say something about
Yes,
him?
absolutely.
One thing that I can say about Mr. Pitts is that the lady that he pulled me over wanting to talk to, that was my aunt's home health care aide, broke down. She didn't have a driver's license. She admitted to that. She had a fictitious tag on her car. She admitted to that. And he did let her come home. He didn't arrest her from, even when I was trying to protect my rights, he didn't hold it against her. So I appreciate that about Mr. Pitts. He didn't act as though she was doing anything wrong, and he let her go home. So I just wanted to say that about him. He's not a bad dude. He's a pretty nice cop.
Right, just stop the little tyrant bully behavior and we'll be good.
So he says you.
So I'm not buying the whole good cop blue line bullshit anymore. I used to think all cops were driven with pure honesty, maybe a little aggressive.
Do you remember me?
Not really.
I'm the one that pulled you over. Remember I cut you a lot of brakes on your major traffic infractions you had that day?
You talking about with my tires? With my tires when I was
You had
driving?
your registration, you had your insurance, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
You want to pause that?
day, right?
So you're saying you did have registration and insurance?
I did, and I had a license plate, which is also a part of your registration. You could easily look it up. But the tires, he cited me for having bad tires, and I don't know how we would have found that out if he hadn't have pulled me over. I mean,
So he did give you a citation for the bad tires?
no, he let me loose. He told me
But he was
loose.
talking about your bad tires.
Yeah, he was throwing all the comments about being a lawyer and stuff like that, which I don't get that whole part. But I know that cops are under pressure, so I mean, I understand why they vent on people, you know, and it's not really fair to judge them for their bad side, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we can draw a different line there, but so you're saying, but when he pulled you over, what was his reason for pulling you over?
He wanted to talk to my aunt's home health care aide, who was taking care of my aunt at the time. We had hired someone to
So
come
he
in.
pulled you over because he wanted to talk to your aunt's home health care aide?
Her car broke down and she called me to come pick her up. So he was doing an investigation on her car, and he told her that it was all right to get in my car and to leave. So when we left, we were gone maybe 30 seconds, and he caught up with us and then pulled me over for the conversation that he had with her.
I don't know, that sounds inappropriate. Like, he had no reason to pull you over in the first place.
He said that he saw a brake light out on my car. He said 2 of my brake lights worked, but the third one didn't.
The third brake light doesn't work. What, the one in the windshield? The one in the
I
back
can't
window?
remember which one he said.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Either way, even if we give him the benefit of the doubt in this one thing that maybe he had a reason to pull you over, it's just, I think he's at your house. He knows who you are,
Definitely.
and he's on a mission.
Oh.
He wants to put you in jail.
Oh. Telling you. That's
David Lee.
David Lee is here.
No,
It's okay.
Sit down, David Lee.
You can go sit in that
Go
chair.
sit down, David Lee.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let
Sit
him go,
in the-
Ricky.
You need
It's
to pull
okay,
your
Ricky.
britches up first.
How are you, David Lee? It's good to see you again. All right, so back to here. Might as well keep playing. I lost track.
All right.
Well, I recorded you that day too, didn't I? So I'm just keeping it
So
there.
I'm just here to do my job.
That's fine.
I'm here to come check the welfare of your mother.
She can.
There's been allegations made that
Well,
there's
then-
abuse in the
You
house.
hear the
okay?
Okay, well then take her on with you. Here.
I don't need to take her. I just need to make sure
Well,
she's okay.
she's not in her right mind. She's not in her right mind.
I've been briefed on that before I came out here. I just need to
And
make
you
sure.
have a degree in psychology.
Do you?
No, I know my mama though. I know that she's clean.
And right, so pause it. And I know I laughed. I probably shouldn't have edited that video where you said, I know my mama though. And I know what you say, and that she's clean. You said something else.
I know that she's clean though.
Yeah, that's right, because you take care of her. And like I think that really once this gets put in context, that the allegation made, this allegation, the way the officer says that in such an accusationary tone, that allegation is that your mom has a bruise on her wrist.
Yes.
This is the allegation made, is that there's a
Yes.
bruise on her wrist, right?
Yes.
And she's on blood thinners from a nurse who is so new, or sorry, a home health care aide that is so new to the game that she doesn't even probably know how the blood thinners and things work. She's been working there a week.
Yeah, this
Right.
was her first week. And I think indeed my mom was her first patient. So she was actually being trained with my mother when she first came out here with the other aides. That's the reason the other aide was with her, was the other aide that stayed inside while she was making the 911 calls was inside the house.
And I think it's important to put in context just how preposterous this is. You got to see your mom one time since she was taken from this house, right?
Well, I got to see her twice. I got to see her 3 times. Twice 2 days after she was taken into custody, and then a month went by and I didn't get to see her, and then I got to see her November 2nd on Saturday, which she was a ward of the state October 10th. I didn't get to see her after October 10th or October 11th until November 2nd. And then I went back the following day because it was 150 miles from here, and they told me I wasn't allowed to see her.
How do the bruises on her wrist look now?
She's covered in bruises. She has open sores. She has 2 big bandages on her arm right here, and they were new bandages when I got there because you could still see the shimmering plastic because it was freshly out of the pack that they took.
So how do you think those happen?
It didn't happen here, and I don't know if it happened at Oconee because I didn't have a chance to go to Oconee and check on her while she was there. They wouldn't allow me to see her. I've got 2 videos of that, me going in and them telling me you're not allowed to see Glenda Lindsay. So they told me that a couple of times, and then again when I went down there the day after the first time I seen her, they wouldn't let me come back. So I have no idea when those sores got on there. But I can tell you that when she was there at the Oconee Memorial, that they weren't any bruises on her when I was asking her if she wanted to come home.
And the most amazing thing is that you have video documentary of all these non-bruises. There's lots of videos of David's mother right here in her bed that are clearly show that there are no bruises on her arms. She looks so happy. She's often telling David that she is happy here in the videos. David asks her a lot of questions. She's a laughing and caring and smiling woman in this house.
Yeah.
And so David's really been screwed here. And this guy might seem so innocent to you, the way his demeanor and things are, but this is the problem. This is how they peck away one little bit at a time. And he's going to start a cascading of events that's going to use the reputation they already built against David. You know, his son touches a woman's breast
School
because
teacher at Fair Oaks.
Yeah, and they do a criminal investigation into the father of the autistic child. I mean, this is the criminalization of a man over a grudge because he likes to film things, or he's utilizing his rights to film things. So yes, this gentleman is absolutely part of the problem. Let's finish, in my opinion. I know that.
Let me say this. I don't film them like y'all see on YouTube of people chasing cops down to record them. I only record them when they come into my circle. I'm not out here trying to make these guys look like bad guys because I know they have a difficult job. So don't think that I'm out here shoving my phone in everybody's face like the rest of these people that do. They're highly disrespectful and that don't care about the feelings of the people they're talking to. They paint them in one broad stroke, all cops are evil. I don't do that. I only record them when they're in my circle. And
right. And we have a discrepancy here because I take things a little different. And the reason I do, I believe that any officer that's enforcing the law needs to enforce the law. And that means if your mother commits a crime, you enforce it similar to how you would if it was a complete stranger.
Absolutely.
And certainly if another officer commits a crime. And see, here's where my problem gets. Like, this officer I'll call a tyrant, and I'll pretty much call anyone who works for the Oconee County Sheriff's Department tyrants because the corruption is so pervasive in this department that there's no way all of them don't know it. And none of them are doing, all it takes is one man. If that man decides to do something about it, it will end because that will get the type of publicity that's needed to end this problem. And so I don't paint all officers bad. I don't think all officers are tyrants. I don't think that we don't need police. I think we do need police. What we need is accountability within police. Transparency. So, but I will call all Oconee County Sheriff's Department officers tyrants. I'll point to their cars and call them tyrants. That does not mean I think all police officers are tyrants.
I think what you're saying is that they'll acknowledge that a person was wrong, but they'll defend that person because he's a police officer. So I don't think behind the scenes they're agreeing with what they've done to you, especially because you got arrested, if I'm not... No, they didn't arrest you. They just put you in jail, right?
Well, they had to arrest me and stick me in jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think behind the scenes that they're actually saying that was wrong. Y'all should have never did that to Jason Boyle. But
if they were saying that about you, they'd drive right over here and arrest you. If you would have done a similar level crime, they would have driven right over here and arrested you immediately. And the fact that they're covering up for their friends, you know, and they're building this whole narrative to make sure that they don't get held to any level of accountability means that I don't trust any of them. Any one good Oconee County cop could file a proper criminal whatever, arrest another officer. I don't care. Get these criminals off the department force.
This officer actually got a search warrant.
Well, I know, and we're gonna keep going. So let's just play the end of this video, and then we'll take a break.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. What's going on?
So your mom's nursing company want me to come do a welfare check on her.
They're here doing it right now.
Let's let this play out. I'll just edit this out. Just the same.
Can you see her right there?
Yeah, but I'd like to get speak to her, maybe.
No, you ain't coming inside my house.
I love this video, man. You're good.
Because I watched too many YouTube videos.
Watch too many
You
YouTube
believe everything
videos.
you see on YouTube?
I believe this camera ain't lying right now.
Took me a second to think of that one. I was like,
You guys doing your work. But not all of you are honest. Y'all just had one busted for
I wish you
child trafficking.
edit this part out too, because this is me being a little overboard.
Child
No, you're stating the truth. You're not being rude to this man. I'm telling you, you're being very polite. If this hurts his feelings, he shouldn't have this job.
Well, the blue line bullshit line.
The
that
blue
was-
line bullshit.
You remember?
No, it is bullshit. There's no blue line. We're all part of the same community.
I cut you a lot of breaks on your major traffic infractions you had that
I
day?
liked how he said major traffic infractions.
And then he made up infractions.
Major traffic. You know, like you were trafficking children or something in the trunk of your car. You know.
What I would like to know is, what does that got to do while you
I'm
there,
here to do
buddy?
my job.
That's fine.
I'm here to come check the welfare of your mother.
She can.
There's been allegations made that
Well,
there's
then-
abuse in the house, okay?
Okay, well then take her on with you. Here.
I
I don't need no allegations of beating on an old woman, that's for sure.
I've been briefed on that before I came out.
I was
here.
briefed on
I
it.
didn't-
She's not her.
And you have a degree in psychology?
I love this too much.
You-
No, I know my mama though.
I know my mama.
her whole life.
I've known
I
her
know
my
how she
whole
feels.
life.
I know that she's clean.
I know how she feels. That's so
all I need to do
beautiful.
is make
That's
sure-
not gonna happen. You ain't going in there. You know, that's not gonna happen. You can take no for an answer.
And your mom's naked inside. You can take no for an answer. This is where we left off. He says he can.
That's why he's calling the judge right there and getting a search warrant for the judge.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I thought that they had to appear in front of a judge. No, they can actually just make a phone call and get the search warrant.
So he's gonna
While
come
they-
back with a search warrant. How long from now do you think it takes him to get the search warrant?
Oh, we sit outside recording. He stays there for about 20 minutes waiting for the lady at the judge's office to tell him he needed a search warrant. And the judge gave him the search warrant over the phone, and then he brings it back after they do the search.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh no, they deliver it. They deliver my copy of the search warrant after he does the search. A cop comes down here with the search warrant that he was asking from the judge.
All right, yeah, say drama. Yeah, it's fine. Say.
So you don't. So you're not letting me come check on her, right?
That's affirmative.
Okay.
Let me check on her, right? And so here's another thing that people made a comment about this video, and I just want to end with this. This woman turns around and she has kind of a scrunched look on her face. I don't know what that look was, but there's other videos of you relaxing and talking to these women and having whole conversations. These women are clearly not afraid of you.
No. In fact, there was one girl that was going to college to become a nurse for Agape that was doing their very same job, and she was by herself coming out here and taking care of my mom. This was new because the lady behind her was training her. This lady here, this is the one that was only there for a week. So
And this is the one that called the police.
in my opinion, because the other one was in front of me the whole time, while this one here had to go out to her car and pick up or get stuff. So I'm assuming she was calling the cops when she went outside. And she also asked me if I had a Second Amendment, and I told her I'm allowed to protect my family, ain't I? And with that, I don't know. But I know I got 7 cop cars parked outside my house because of my mama. I know that.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to these videos. Amazing video documentary you put together. I love that the pieces are there. Like, for example, this is how impressive this man is. people in the video are asking, will this woman look concerned when she turned around? Well, we're going to play a bunch of videos in the future, and you're going to see David having conversations with these people and all the Agape home health care aides, and you're going to see that he's actually very polite and kind with all of them always, and that none of them have expressed any fear of this man.
Never. And I mean, even laughed at my corny jokes.
They're corny.
They are. The jokes aren't funny. They're funny to me because I'm an idiot, but they're not funny always. But this lady here, you won't see her in any videos because this is really her first week. This is her first.
But isn't there
patient.
another video after? Doesn't this video continue after you walk in? Is this an edit of the video, or is this?
No, after they see the police officers not coming in, they both hightail it. They leave, even leaving their computer behind because they're in fear of their life. But you can see my mother's leg right there. This is the reason I didn't let the officer come in, because my mom, she doesn't want people to see her in this shape. I mean, she has a right to keep her dignity about her, and he wanted to come in right then and there. She wasn't covered. To my standard, she wasn't covered. Her leg is bare right there. She might have a diaper on, but she was not covered in the way that you would be wanting to be seen by a police officer or a sheriff's deputy.
Right, they can at least get her dressed and let her speak to them. And she could have gone outside. I mean, she goes outside.
Yeah.
She could have gone outside and talked to the officer if he could just be a little patient. Like,
I want to capture this screenshot here.
There she is.
That one there says it all, Jason. That says it all. She's
she doesn't look scared. She looks mad.
What are you still doing here?
She thought you were getting arrested, and now she's back.
This one here was her supervisor, or the lady that was help training her. But man, she was like, what? I'm like, am I at the right house? Is that my mama?
I think that was a good video. Let's call that a wrap for this one.
Yes,
We're
sir.
gonna get another one.
Thank you.
I like it.